Apologies in advance if I butcher the heck out of your name. Ujbuoyk. Let me know down below if I got that right or not. So for today we have a very defensive setup here. We got figure 338. Told me to go ahead and do 10 out of 10 into either HP or defense. I went with HP in general. I think it's a lot more useful. Character skills he recommended are FHP Cure, HP 50L, Defense Sub Second 2, and FHP Cure Enemy Ultimate Gauge 100. Next up we have figure 454. I did them entirely in HP as well, with FHP Cure, FHP 50L, Defense Sub Second 2, and FHP Cure Enemy Ultimate Gauge 100. Same character skills. Next up, we have figure 179. I duped her entirely in HP. I just think she's most useful with that spread. Along with FHP Cure, FHP 50L, Defensive Second 2, and FHP Cure Enemy Ultimate Gauge 100. Now, he told me I can go ahead and swap this out for something like stacking defense, but I think this is going to be more useful in the long run because a little bit of defense at each turn to either herself or her and her allies, it's not really going to compare to healing like full if the enemy gets an ultimate gauge filled up all the way. So I'd recommend going with this. But in general, I recommend having 2 figures at the most with enemy ultimate gauge down every turn. Or 1 if you're using a figure that already does that and you plan on running them on the field behind a very solid unit like Vados. As an example would be Final Form Frieza from DLC 12, which is, in my opinion, one of the best God tier figures in the whole game now. That's why I run it in my main deck. He's ridiculous. Moving on, we have figure 316. I duped them entirely into HP. He gave me the option, again, of either duping entirely into HP and defense. I just chose HP for every single one of them. Said to go nuts with the character skills. I decided to go with Defensive Second, FHP Cure, FHP 50L, and Defensive Second 2. Now, if by some miracle the enemy gets 2 ultimate attacks in a row, that is why I have Defensive Second 2, if I need to throw him on the field again, because whereas you have Defense up F, you'll get a flat 350. It will not stack any more past that, so just go with Defensive Second 2 instead, you know, in case. And you could throw in something else, like Ultimate Gauge down every turn, but I feel like that'd be pointless considering you're putting this unit on the field to negate all enemy damage. Though I will state right now, another decent option is stack on more percentage to his attack. In fact, you know, let's do that. Let's actually switch that up for ADM up second, because I feel like that's going to be a lot better in general. There we go, and that'll stack with his already ridiculously existing closing skill, so that'll stack nicely. And then finally we have EX44, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Gogeta. Let me do this really quick, so I don't have to do it later. Since I went ahead and made a slight change to that, bear with me one sec. There we go. Alright, first up on the free battles for the 7-star ranking, we're doing free battle 26. And if you are new to these, I only focus on showing off decks on the 7-star free battles because, well, they're the toughest battles in the game. I feel like anything lower is too easy. It's not always the case, but more often than not, it's a lot easier to do anything that's not a 7-star ranked battle. Just offer a bit more of a challenge, and make things more interesting. So his damage dealers go in all 3 columns. That kind of sucks. Which one's more of a threat, though? Okay, so since Prince of Destruction Vegeta's more of a threat, I would recommend putting the more tank unit in the middle here. I want to go ahead and do just that. And then throw it on Vados as well. The main focus of this setup as well is to run a 3-column setup, because you should take little to no damage, like, throughout the game. If you need to, you can double stack either on the left or in the middle. But I find it better to double stack with the defensive setup like this, with the figure or 2 that can go behind Vados. Which is why I have the Final Form Frieza unit from DLC 12. It just goes so well with Vados, and then to stack that even more with the first Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you're taking, like, no damage to both your figures and your master, with how well they all work together. I was hoping one day we would eventually get a really good third enemy damage mitigation unit that went in just the right trigger square, and my prayer was answered with that UR Final Form Frieza. Such a freaking good unit. It even decreases your enemy's ultimate attack gauge, just like the perfect unit to go with Goku and Vados. Plus I have them all constantly stacking up defense up with defense up second 2. And constantly lowering the enemy's high damage percentages, if they're there anyway. But that is not the focus of this vid. Let's get back to the deck. So again, like I was saying earlier, very defensive setup. Lacking spots in the bottom right. I know it'd be kind of a disservice to use Ultimate Gauge on every turn, because, you know, UI Goku's in the stack. But, UI Goku's not a bad unit, I just don't think he's as good as he used to be when he first came out, but he's still a very solid choice. Because I feel like either version, they don't have anywhere near enough speed. And to have to keep adding on band-aids for that through character skills, I feel like that's kind of shafting him. You're either going to take serious hits in your defense, your HP, or your speed using either version, and that's my bottom line with him, of why he kind of sucks. Also, I know you can run him behind Vados, but why do that when you can have constantly stacking figure that not only decreases enemy damage percentages like the UR Frieza from DLC 12, while also getting stronger with defense, with, attack up second 2. Not much point to using the UI Goku with up second skills and that in mind. That's just me, though. There's no right way to play this game. Many ways to go about it. So just find a style that works for you. Take everything that everyone says, including me, with a grain of salt. Because while I might suggest my own changes, I'm not saying that they're the go-to strategies. I'm just saying, you know, that's what I would do. Sucks that Vegeta here went after Gogeta, but yeah, well. I would prefer he went after NZ Goku. You generally want your tanks to be taking the brunt of the damage. That should be, like, self-explanatory, though, I think. Good news, though, is if for whatever reason this Gogeta takes damage himself, he's just going to get stronger from it. Doesn't matter if you're using the more attack-focused version or the more tanky version. He's still going to be a solid pick and put in some seriously good work, especially by turn 4. Like, wait until you see his numbers on this turn. They're really good. And he's duped entirely in HP. Alright, so for this turn, I'm going to put out Ujbuoyk. We're just going to put a stop to all that damage. I'm perfectly fine with this, too. I'd rather let his Goku take all the hits. Damn it, I outsped. Oh well. Also notice how Vados pretty much got full HP after that last turn. And all my health on like all these units are really good, so kudos just for the just for how much HP you're using to screw over your opponent. I found that really hilarious. And for that reason is why I like to use Toa, along with FHP Cure, FHP 50L. Let me make sure I read that right. Okay, yeah. It doesn't really matter too much. Once more, I'm gonna put a stop to you ulting right there. I'm not dealing with that today, no thank you. Another character skill that I'd like to recommend, that I prefer to have, is Ultimate Gauge Up turn 5. Because there are times where you run into opponents that have Ultimate Gauge down every turn on like every single one of their figures. If they have 3, you can easily mitigate that and still get your ult off to screw over your opponent. Now, if they have character skills that lower your ultimate attack gauge, then that's another story. But for, like, general purposes, that's what I recommend. Just having one of those on standby. I could have put one on Ujbuoyk, but nah. I'd rather just have him do more damage. And constantly screw over the opponent trying to use an ulti. Though that is still an option. So there is that flexibility, which is nice. Next up we have a fight with Sarabon. In case I didn't say so earlier, we just got done with Battle 26. Now we're dealing with Battle 35. And then we'll finish off with 19. Which, speaking of, I'm surprised that we didn't get any leaks or confirmation at all still for either Android 19 or Dr. Shiro. I mean, I get why they're not the most popular characters, but still, they've been in so many other games. And to have them only acknowledged through clothing, I don't know, I just find that kinda odd. Though it wouldn't surprise me if they eventually got added, along with Nezu, Dorde, and Salza, Super Android 13, 14, and 15. I think I already mentioned them. Let's see, who else can I think of? Full Power Bojack. Boo, go take some Zord, though I think that's kind of unlikely. Time will tell. Almost got distracted and made a horrible play. Oops. That sucks, because he's going to be taking some serious damage here. They'll be alright, though. To add on to earlier, why I would prefer to have on ADM up second, instead of Ultimate Gauge up turn 5 on Ujbuoyk. I mean, come on, that's basically like a 30% boost. And a flat one that keeps getting an additional 10%. Along with his trigger square. Pretty ridiculous. And I much rather that than getting plus 6% on the ultimate attack gauge, which is only like a one-use thing. And even then, your focus with that unit once more is to completely screw over the enemy if they happen to have one of their own ready to go. Now, a couple of figures I think that could really shaft you with a setup like this. Toa, for one, but that's, I think, a given. And Gaku, because he can constantly increase his damage dealt by 5%. Plus the flat attack boost to himself and his teammates. So that can be kind of scary, same with the full power Jiren. Other than that, you know, very solid defensive setup. But those are like so situational. Unfortunately, I am locked, so I cannot throw down UI Goku, which sucks. Nor can I put down Gogeta by himself. If I somehow have more of speed than my opponent, I will try going first. Of course not. Maybe he'll get shafted on the wheel. Nope. Okay, this might hurt a little. And that right there is how much out of favor that first UR Golden Frieza has fallen from. Really not the greatest damage dealer. Not anymore. To be fair, he was kind of just like mid-tier when Hero Colosseum first came out. Other than that, he hit decent enough and had ridiculous speed. And along with that, you'd want to put him on the field by himself to take no damage. But your master would still be wide open. So doing that in itself is a risky strategy. Now, some might argue high risk, high reward, but with a unit like that, I don't think it's worth it. They're better O1 units now, anyhow. I think he just got his ult again. Or I might have just gotten it. We'll have to see. Okay, he just got it. Really wish I could see the HUD at all times. Unfortunately, they still haven't fixed that. Who knows, maybe in DLC 14 or 15, possibly. There are still some typos and ridiculous, like, squished-in text on some of the figures. I'm surprised that they haven't fixed some of the stuff. I'm also really concerned about Mug. Mug the Dude. He's once again disappeared for quite some time. I hope he's doing alright. Same with Robo. I know he's having some issues with the YouTube algorithm, which I'm personally upset about. Because he really didn't, like, do anything harmful. There are plenty of other vids on YouTube, like, showing the general public how to use, like, a ROM hack of a Pokemon game, and they didn't get that punishment, so it's, like, highly unfair. Not happy about it. In fact, I'm pissed off for him. That sucks. I hope I can at least, you know, give him a chuckle or two just by having the Yoshi Kid in Thousand Year Door named after him. I've already said it once or twice. I'm making absolutely sure nothing happens to him. Yeah, believe it or not, we do mess with each other from time to time, but I feel like both sides care quite a bit. I certainly do. Go check out Rock and Roll, by the way. Really good guy. Pretty good content, too. I enjoy a lot of his Pokemon stuff. along with Hero Colosseum. I'll even check out his Dokkan stuff from time to time. I'm not the biggest on that game, but I don't know, there's just something fun about watching chill people play that game. Speaking of chill people, I can recommend a couple others like RC Blazer and my buddy QB Foursquare and Raven Gaming. But that's enough plugs for the time being. Let's get into our third fight here. It's a really annoying one. I think it was a few. Oh yeah, this will be a fun one. Not. And the reason I say that is because, well, Toa. Most annoying and quite possibly the most broken figure in the entire game. She heals everyone for 50% for her ultimate, even though she only does, like, the very bare minimum of 100 damage to all opponents. She swaps for basically every single figure their attack and speed values, which a lot of the time, their attack is higher than the speed. Goes in the bottom left, which is a really good and safe spot. And in the upper middle. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, though, if you're using two of them, because you could get unlucky and swap the same person back. Which, I think both Robo and Mugs have experimented with that. They got shafted doing that. It was immensely funny to see, but I mean, when the opponent can put, like, 2 out of 3 figures on the field, you're kind of asking for that to happen. I like to play it really safe with Toa whenever I use her, and try to make sure I only put her on the field when I'm either healing, or I'm swapping a opponent that I know for sure is going down on the field, and then is off to the side. I'm talking specifically AI fights here, by the way. The PvP community on the PC version for Hero Colosseum, it's non-existent. There is no PvP community on the PC version. Because there's such a bigger library on Steam, and, of course, mods. Mods upon mods upon mods. If I could get vulgar for just a second, it is hot as balls here. Good God, I need to turn up the AC. I'm gonna go do that, give me a sec. Christ, I'm sweating. It's also starting to get more humid now here, unfortunately. I just can't escape the humidity. I went out to go visit some folks in Florida. Quite humid. I'm back in Illinois. Quite humid. Fun stuff all around. Like, I don't mind heat as much as I do the humidity, because that, like, suffocates me. It's actually a really decent attack number coming from Gogeta, considering it's only turn 2. He's already healed up to full, very nice. Let's see who Toa swaps this time. I think I know who. I'm guessing Gogeta. Very mediocre damage from Vados, not surprising. Just in case, I'm gonna throw down UI Goku. Oh yeah, I'm really glad I threw down UI Goku. Just completely screw over Vegito here. I didn't even do 1500. UI Goku is really good at shutting down enemy opponents when they ult. It's obnoxious. I wonder what the UIOMN Goku unit's going to be like. I hope he's decent. Same with this, though. It's really hard to gauge how good a figure's going to be when you're just looking at them level 1. Because the numbers are consistent, like very inconsistent when you start leveling them up. Some will get more increases than others, and it's like, okay, well, what rules dictate that? Doesn't make much sense. I'm gonna just strip on UI Goku again here. Just so I can hopefully get rid of this Whis right away. Vegito's no threat at this point. Even with my Pierce defense here. Nada. Once more, nada. Peanut damage. Considering he has, like, no attack boosting skills, and he's mostly a support unit, not bad. Not bad. Still wish he hit a bit harder, but it's alright. That's what UI Goku, Gogeta, well, both versions of Gogeta are here for. You know, minus the fact that, Toa completely screwed over Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta stats. Of course they got another ultimate, because why wouldn't they? Yeah, they both got shafted. You know what? No, his damage, I think, was really solid, considering he was swapped earlier. And I'm just going to stop you right there, Vegito. You don't get to deal a bunch of damage to me. No, thank you. Try going second. That's alright, though. This should theoretically end it. I'm not too sure on Vegito falling. Yeah, I didn't think so. Got a lot of defense on him right now. Like, holy crap. Maybe I should have just put Gogeta up in the upper middle. Oh well. It'll still work out fine. And we'll get to Shaft Vegito again. That's always fun. This shouldn't even do, like, 1500 damage. I hope not. Okay, that's about right. I guess. He is getting additional attack boosts each turn. When he's in his trigger square anyways. You know what? Why not? I think his master is actually kind of low on HP. I'm gonna go ahead and put on a Blue Gogeta. That's not going to save you. Say goodbye to your HP. Down goes the master. Holy crap, really solid considering he's getting kind of a debuff. So in general, I'm thoroughly impressed with the deck. May or may not want to swap out one of the figures, though, to put behind Vados. Because I think for a defensive setup, that's like... it's basically a must-have, to me anyways. I don't think you really need this UI Goku, considering that they're competing for that trigger square. But I get what you're going for. You can have them tag in and out if you really need to, negate a lot of ultimate attack damage, which usually isn't too much of a threat if you have at least 2 ultimate gauges on every turns, where you have one of them in a figure who can lower the enemy's ultimate attack gauge every single turn. Those are just some changes to take into consideration. But regardless, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm gonna go get some rest here. Peace.